I'm going to make Murg Tariwala, which is a very home style, very simple chicken curry. Okay, so the ingredients are very simple. I've got spices. I got sunflower oil here, and I've kept the heat too high so it just comes up. I got cumin seeds, mace blade, cassia or cinnamon you can take, bay leaf, 2 bay leaves I have taken, 1 black cardamom, okay, 2 green cardamoms and 2 cloves. And oil, as it gets hot, I will add the whole spices first, and then followed by, I'm just trying to open the cardamom, and I'll put them straight in here because I want cardamom flavor to dominate this chicken curry. I think it works incredibly well. Right, and plus by opening that, it will not explode, which was always the reason for which I was opening the cardamom. Otherwise it just gets pressurized. And now moving on to the next ingredients after this, I'll have 1.5 onion, or 1 large onion you can say. There are 2 medium tomatoes which have been just diced. I got ginger and garlic, both chopped, 2 green chilies sliced, and I got 500 grams of boneless chicken thighs cut into dices. Very simple, straightforward recipe. And then the spices, I have my spice box, and I'll go through that when I'm adding them here. Okay, so I'll swirl this around so that the spices, the cardamom takes over the oil first before I add the rest. Now I can add the rest of my spices here. Straight away crackles. Now this combination of the flavors that come out of the pan, that's what, as an Indian cook, that's what I desire, that's what I want. Okay, so I'm going to add the garlic first with the green chilies. Saute that nicely. I don't want to color the garlic. So the flavor of garlic and chili together with the spices, that's the building block of this curry. You can add chilies at any stage, but you have to decide what sort of flavor you're after. Okay, if you add the green chili towards the end, then you will get the raw heat coming through. Nothing wrong with that, very, very good. But if you add it in the beginning, all the flavor and the heat of the chilies get leached out in the oil, and that flavor of the chili, the raw chili, the green chili just lingers on, not raw chili, the green chili lingers on, which is a beautiful flavor. So garlic is just giving in slowly. I don't want to color it, I want to keep it like that, and then reach out for onions. That goes through. I like to add a little bit of salt when I'm cooking onions. What it does, it helps to sweat the onions or make them to lose moisture very quickly in the pan. Okay, but we have to remember that we have added this much salt. So when we add salt again to correct the seasoning, we must compensate for the salt which we have already added here. Okay, we have to saute this. It will take about 15 minutes to get it completely caramelized. Light brown to deep brown in color. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So, onion is nicely caramelized. Okay, that's a good time to add the chicken. I've kept the heat to almost medium and turning it to high. I want to seal the chicken very quickly. So for this curry I landed up chopping the onions, but if you wanted to slice it really thin, that would also be good, but chopping is fine. The idea is to quickly seal the chicken. The sooner I get the chicken sealed, the more juices I can retain within the pieces, okay? If you leave it on a slower heat, all the juices of the chicken will leach out in the pan and chicken will become dry very fast. That's one of the reasons I like using leg or thigh meat. You can see the bottom of the pan is getting caramelized, so keep the heat to medium. The spices I'm going to add are 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, about 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, half a teaspoon of red chili powder, another half a teaspoon of salt. We had added half a teaspoon before. I love adding a little tanginess, so I'm going to add a little bit of mango powder, which is half a teaspoon, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garam masala. It's a standard garam masala which you buy in the shops, just using that. Towards the end I'll add another half a teaspoon. You'll notice that I tend to use the same spices time and time again. But the way you handle your onion, your ginger, your garlic, to the degree you cook your either vegetables or your protein, in this case chicken, that actually dictates the flavor. That tells you where you're going with it, okay? So you might use those 5 standard spices time and time again, but every time you put a new ingredient in the pan and cook it to a certain different degree, you will realize that the flavor is so very different, okay? Tomatoes, that can go in now. And I will put the heat to slow to medium from here on and let it cook gently. I don't want to add any water yet. I'll come back to it. I'll put a lid as well on top and then let it simmer gently. So this will be cooking like this for another 3 to 5 minutes before I'll add a little bit of water and the lid on top. So I've let it cook for about 5 minutes and you can see the tomatoes are softened, and that was the idea. So all the moisture that I could get from the tomatoes would be helpful. But tomato does another thing, it slows down the cooking of protein. I also added mango powder, so that also, the acid in them slows down the cooking of protein. So from here on, I'll add about 200 ml of water. This jug takes about 500 ml, so I added about 250. Bring it to boil and then simmer it down and put the lid on and gently cook. So when I come back, I'll have this chopped ginger that will go in, and also a tablespoon of chopped coriander, a little bit of garam masala, and we are set. Okay, this looks pretty cool to me. I'll bring the heat up. Chicken is perfectly cooked. The tomatoes are just giving in. Time to add all the ginger I have. use the spoon. I will also add another half a teaspoon of garam masala to finish the cooking. Mix this well. Turn the heat off and garnish with the chopped coriander. Right, so this was my Murg Tariwala. I have written this recipe in many forms, but this is one of the most simple one that I cook in my house, in my home, for my family, time and time again. I absolutely love this. This is a really simple, straightforward recipe. Hope you guys will give it a shot. Do try it and enjoy.